Deep inside, Do-Yun ran into a player whose system didn't boost, it cut. Dead-chewed through XP, suppression zones wrecked growth, he made it out alive, but realized something, growth itself had become a weakness. Now he's going back not for levels, but for control. If stacking makes him a target, he'll drop it right in front of people who think power is numbers and prove it in a fight. At the anomaly entrance, he zeroes out accumulation, leaving only instant distribution. Min-jae sees it and frowns. "You're crippling yourself," he says. Do-Yun nods and steps in first. The first suppression zone hits hard, debt clings by a thin thread. Do-Yun doesn't wipe it right away, he pulses in and out, shaving off the penalty tail while staying mobile. A predator bursts from the shadows. Do-Yun doesn't buff, he keeps it clean, dodge, disrupt, strike the base. He takes the counter and drops to an E, but gets up faster than before. Min-jae covers him, but his hits die in the field. Do-Yun gives a short rhythm call, Min-jae follows reluctantly, then they sync up and make it out clean. A pair of hunters are stuck in a pocket, one already slipping negative. Min-jae says leave them. Do-Yun takes it on, lets the debt climb, and drags them out, losing tempo. Portable light stabilizes a section, the field thins. Do-Yun locks onto it and acts immediately, plants the light in a choke point, carving a corridor without suppression. The debt node pulses ahead, another group's leader calls for an attack. Do-Yun cuts him off and demonstrates, quick in, sharp out, trimming the penalty in plain sight. The other shows up instantly, blanketing the area with zones. Do-Yun doesn't strike, he pulls him toward the light and fractures, breaking the field's geometry. Min-jae surges forward, Do-Yun snaps him back, pours his own resource into Min-jae's stamina to kill the impulse, the cost, his own bar nearly empty. They break out of the ring, but Do-Yun's reserves are gone. At the exit, strangers offer protection for data, he refuses and pulls Min-jae through a narrow corridor. The safe zone is brief. Do-Yun doesn't linger on analysis, he heads right back in with a new plan, not letting the pressure cool. He switches fully to flow mode, instant distribution, no peaks. In the next fight he stacks nothing and moves clean, no debt sticking. Guilds roll out anomaly licenses, pushing them off the tiers. Do-Yun takes the hit and joins an operation to prove the method in hands under someone else's command. In the squad, he immediately cuts the tempo, forces them to hold the light and move in bursts. The leader argues, but the first trap breaks clean, everyone goes quiet. On the second layer, the other hits their formation, one drops into the negative. Do-Yun burns his own resource to wipe the debt, saving the fighter and zeroing himself. The squad gets out, the leader takes the credit and trims Do-Yun's report. Min-jae argues for him for the first time, but the system stays deaf, his contribution erased again. Do-Yun walks away from the squad on the spot, heads back into the anomaly, choosing control over recognition. He finds a null zone and goes straight into a fight with no interface, takes a hit from a basic monster and loses, rolling back with a wound. He doesn't explain, he repeats, steps back in and fights again, changes stance and breath, the second time he holds and walks out on his feet. He returns to the city not to rest, but to train, short no-skill sparring, weighted runs, falls and recoveries, growth through pain, not numbers. Min-jae shows up and stands across from him without a word. They fight without the system, rough at first, then sharper, and stop at the same moment for the first time. No words, they head back down together, split roles. Do-Yun reads zones, Min-jae holds the line, no one trying to prove anything. Inside, a new field form meets them, double core, boost plus suppression. Do-Yun splits the task immediately and sets the sync. The other interferes, trying to break their rhythm. Do-Yun takes the hit without dropping into death, holds the window, Min-jae finishes the second node. The core goes dark for a cycle, they exit with data and no victory, but with control, the key is found. Guilds demand disclosure. Do-Yun refuses on the spot and loses the contract, accepting isolation as the price of freedom. He sells the loot and buys a one-time pass into an unstable zone with no central control, heading back to the source without cover. Inside, he trains counter rhythm, short boost pulses in the field's pauses, zero accumulation, zero debt tails, stability over spikes. A strong solo tries to force a fight. Do-Yun refuses and walks, choosing the field himself. First time refusing becomes strength. A new mapping group offers cooperation without disclosure. Du Yun leads one run and takes them through fractures, showing no numbers. At the exit they offer a long-term contract, he declines, avoids control, and shifts routes into a chain of anomalies. In one node he catches a weak suppression variant and clears it clean, locking in the method. Confidence rises, but reserves stay at 0. He decides to go back to deep levels, this time with a kit, portable light, markers, a no accumulation plan. At the entrance, Min-jae offers equal footing. Du-yun accepts without conditions, they descend together. Below, the interface flickers and dies, markers vanish. Du-yun sets physical signs and leads by sound and step. A creature without parameters steps out of the dark. Du-yun fights clean, misses, takes a hit and falls. Death doesn't trigger. He stands without waiting for a reset, shifts rhythm and reads reaction to intent, breaks through the guard and pulls back. Control without the system emerges. They move deeper, find records about zero zones. Du-yun doesn't linger, straight into action before fear can root. A man without an interface appears, the same one, but empty. He leads with a "it's honest here," and drops them into a choice. Du-yun doesn't chase, he heads for the empty core, tests the boundary and gets instantly wiped. Everything left is gone. Min-jae grabs him back, Du-yun breaks free, steps in fully, giving up everything on purpose for a clean state. Inside, he feels his body without numbers, movement is slower, sharper, the opponent returns without an interface too. The fight becomes direct. Du-yun slips, takes a hit, but gets up faster because he's not waiting on the system. He shifts breath and rhythm, catches the moment and breaks the guard. The opponent backs off but won't concede, counters hard, forcing Du-yun to give ground. No win, just parity and threat. Min-jae doesn't, holds the perimeter. Du-yun chooses not to finish, keeps the state and exits with the skill. They leave the core, the interface returns as a thin layer. Du-yun doesn't turn on accumulation, keeping it as a tool. At the exit, guilds demand data, he refuses and walks through without hiding. Min-jae stays beside him, silent. In the city, the rumors shift, not trash anymore, but out of the system. Interest rises, and so do fear and pressure. Du-yun goes to the academy and straight to the gym, no access. He opens the door anyway and starts training without skills. Students watch and copy. A trainer tries to stop him. Du-yun doesn't argue, keeps going, and shows a combo without numbers. The room falls quiet, rules start to crack. That night he doesn't linger on symbols, goes right back to work, takes a short clear and runs it with no accumulation, locking the method in reality. Min-jae joins the next run, they split roles without words, the link steadier than before. Deep down they meet the opponent again, pressure spikes, but no dead sticks. Du-yun has no surplus. In a short window they break the node and pull back, data secured. The opponent remains, but no longer sets the terms. Du-yun builds an anomaly map and sees a chain leading deeper, where the interface disappears completely. Guilds offer a contract with full disclosure for access, he refuses and closes it immediately. He chooses a path outside ranks, short entries, fast exits, zero accumulation, maximum control. In the end, he descends to the next node, where the interface won't appear at all, and steps forward knowing there'll be no prompts, no mercy, just choice and its cost. Even the faint flicker of the interface is gone deep below. Du-yun stops, then steps only after a pause, checking every sound. Min-jae keeps his distance, hands off, but never letting him go. The space reacts to movement, walls shift with sharp steps. Du-yun slows, builds a rhythm, and leads without triggering it, control through behavior, not force. Something shapeless slips out of the dark, drawn to noise. Du-yun throws a false step, reads the reaction and strikes the empty space where it forms, but takes the counter and goes down. He gets up without a reset, takes the pain, changes his breathing, runs it again. On the second try he pushes it back, not killing it, just opening a path. Min-jae tries to speed it up. Du-yun stops him with a gesture, points at the walls already moving faster. They sync up or get crushed. They find a narrow corridor with remnants of a camp, systemless markers left behind. Du-yun uses them, then sees some lead nowhere. Not every solution works here. A sound rises from deeper in, like breathing. A figure appears, human but without an interface, the same opponent stripped of all system. He attacks immediately. Du-yun can't dodge in time, takes it clean and goes down. Disoriented, Min-jae steps in and knocks the opponent back. Du-yun gets up and signals Min-jae to stop. takes the fight himself, shifts rhythm, uses the pauses, starts reading the movement. They trade blows, no numbers, no bonuses, just speed and precision. Do-yoon eats one, then answers with a string, holding the pace for the first time. The opponent ramps up, driving him to the wall. Do-yoon takes a risky step forward, breaks the distance and steals the initiative. He's close to finishing it, then stops, realizing a win here won't open anything, only tighten the space. The opponent smiles for the first time, like he was waiting for that call, then backs off into the dark, leaving them with the choice. The space starts to compress, walls closing in. Do-yoon leads through a narrow cut, but Min-jae lags, clipping a trap. Do-yoon doubles back, gives up the safe line, drags him out and takes the wall's hit himself, comes away injured. They make it through, but the path back is gone, only way is deeper, no longer a choice, just necessity. In the next chamber they find an empty node, unstable, it doesn't reset, it breaks rhythm. Do-yoon tries to use it and nearly loses balance. He lets go of controlling the node, leads Min-jae around it, accepting not everything can be mastered. Fatigue builds, movement slows. Do-yoon feels a limit for the first time without the system and it presses harder than any penalty. They find a way up a level, unstable, timing has to be exact or it throws them back. Do-yoon counts the rhythm of the space, picks the moment, shoves Min-jae forward and holds for a fraction. The transition half fires. Min-jae makes it through, Do-yoon gets stuck between layers, no space, no footing. He loses orientation, holds his breath and makes one move forward, trusting his body over any system. He comes out the other side, but collapses, can't stand right away. Min-jae lifts him, no words, just action. On this level the system comes back, but only partially. Do-yoon doesn't switch it on, even seeing the speed he could get. They head for the exit, run into a guild group that's been hunting them. They demand a report and data access. Do-yoon refuses. When one of them pushes, Min-jae steps up beside him, blocking it cold. They walk past, no fight, not avoidance, just refusing to play by the pressure. On the surface, the city already knows about the deep zones, control tightens, entrance is close, but Do-yoon isn't dependent anymore. In the end he looks at the sealed entrance, then at an alternate path through an unstable sector and goes that way, choosing a road with no control, no guarantees.